took off of all my comments, and instead of trying to just answer a question and other people not see it and this and that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take questions that I get and try to answer them as best as I can. Now, first off, let me start with saying that I'm not doing this series of Createx videos to say that these are just awesome paints for models and this is what everybody should try to use or should attempt, or far from it. I mean, they're very hard to use, and the reason I'm posting these videos is because they can be used, but they're really tricky. They're not easy. They're not the easiest paints to use. Dr. Crank could be the first one to tell you that, because I know he's tried them, and you don't see him using them a lot. They have a lot of, there's pitfalls that you can encounter very easily if you don't understand the paints and kind of know about them. And, so don't everybody, I've seen a lot of comments about, oh, I'm going to go out and get some tomorrow, I'm getting these paints, I'm going to go get them, and please stop. Don't everybody rush out now and start buying these paints. I mean, I'm not saying that these are, the do-all end-all modeling paints. Yes, they can be used successfully, but there are things to know about them, and I haven't gotten to that part yet. I was just describing the paints in my first few videos, so calm down, guys. Don't get all crazy and start everybody buying Createx, because you're liable to be like emailing me with a lot of bad things, and once you start trying them. At least wait till the series is kind of moved along, and I'm showing some spraying and showing some things to look out for, and the idiosyncrasies of these paints, and then make a decision if this is some stuff you want to mess with. These paints, these Createx paints, originally they were designed almost kind of mainly as a t-shirt type paint. They can be used on non-porous surfaces, but I think kind of one of the main purposes of these paints and formulations is to be used as a t-shirt paint. And t-shirt painters blast a lot of paint at very high pressure onto fabric. And so when they say these paints are pre-thinned and ready to spray and all, well, not for models, they're not. I mean, it's not that easy. So basically what we're doing is we're trying to take these paints and convert them into something we can use on models and through thinning and things like that, which really gets hairy. So, don't everybody run out and start buying these paints and expecting that they're going to just spray and get these awesome model finishes, right out of the gate. There's a little to know about them, and that's why I'm doing these videos. That's the reason. This is from Big Daddy 6879. I definitely want to learn more about other paints. Rattle cans seem extremely wasteful, I will stay tuned for more. I would love to hear the answers to all the previous questions posted. Great video, buddy. Well, thank you, first off. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to try to answer the questions that have been posted so far. The first one is RJV5612, and he posted, "Sweet vid, thank you. Do you have to thin them down for using in an airbrush?" Yes, absolutely. If you're using them on a model car, you have to thin them down. As I mentioned, they're rather thick, they're heavy, they're very fine pigment, but they're heavy paints, and you absolutely do have to thin them down, especially if you're using airbrushes that most modelers are geared to using. You're definitely going to have to thin them down to get them through a needle like that. I mean, typically these paints are designed to be sprayed at 45 plus psi, 50, 60. That's a lot of pressure. In fact, there's a lot of people who have compressors that will not put that kind of pressure out. So, and then on top of that, you're talking big needles, 0.04, 05. That's a big needle. So yes, I would say in most cases you do have to thin them down. Now, as far as what to thin them with and all that, I will get to that in probably my next video. The actual thinning and how much and what to look for and all that. And the pitfalls of thinning them too much, because these paints do not like to be thinned too much. Next question from Atomic Dog 32. Awesome video. Thank you. I am going to buy me an airbrush this weekend. Now, what kind of compressor will I need? I'm learning a lot from you, and I want to see more videos as soon as possible. I'm getting a Badger gravity feed airbrush medium spray. Is that a good airbrush to start? Take it easy and keep building. What kind of compressor will I need? The best you can buy. I am a firm believer of anybody that's getting into airbrushing or wanting to. Don't worry about the airbrush. Get the best compressor you can afford. If you need a silent compressor, get the best silent compressor you can afford. That puts out the most PSI, that might have a tank. I mean, put your money in that compressor. Because if you can do like I do, which I have one of those big loud compressors, but it puts out a lot of pressure and it has a big old tank, it's out in my garage, but I have it plumbed under my house into here, into another tank, and then off of that tank I run my airbrush system, so it's completely silent. I spend $125 on this big dog compressor, and then I spend another maybe $50 in hoses and regulators and filters and things like that, and I have a totally silent system for less than $200. But you know, not everybody can do that. You know, so you're probably going to be looking at a silent compressor. You're probably looking at things like Iwata and whatnot. Get the best you can get. Get the best compressor you can buy. That's the heart of your system. And then the second part of the question is, I'm getting a Badger gravity feed airbrush medium spray. Is that a good airbrush to start? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure which model that is or anything, but you can't go wrong with Badger. You can't go wrong with a good gravity feed. That's going to be the most useful to you. And you definitely can't go wrong with a medium range needle. So yes, I think you're right on the money there. But there again, make sure that you don't scrimp on the compressor. That's my opinion. Because from Say On, now this was flagged a couple times as spam, and I do not consider it spam, and I'll go ahead and read it. It says, hello, I've worked with these paints before. Currently I'm using the fluorescent, pearled, and opaques. I'm using the illustration base thinner, which I have up here somewhere, which has a milky color. Still, I think these paints are not very strong and are mainly used for fabric and not for plastic ABS. I tried to cure the paint with a hairdryer and leave it there for a couple days, but still it doesn't stick strong to the surface unless you apply a coat of something. I still prefer Tamiya, Gia, or Mr. Color. All awesome paints, no doubt. And personally, I think those are better paints. The only thing is that they don't have the colors, you know, that you can get with the Createx. Cure it with a hairdryer. That's a good thing, because these paints do need to be cured or help to cure with a warm air. If you just spray these things and just spray and spray, it can be weeks and weeks before it actually cures, if it ever cures. So, but that's coming up. I'm getting to that point on drying and curing, thinning, and adhesion, and all these things. Yes, you pretty much need to spray these over some type of primer, or at least a roughed up plastic surface, if you want any chance of good adhesion. And yes, you do need to help dry these paints. Every thin layer you need to dry. Silver Horse 347, looking forward to the series. It is almost too easy to get these paints. I have a ton of colors I don't use since I found Wicked Paints. Well, there you go. Wicked colors and Wicked detail. They do have the pearls, transparents, and they're about the same price. You know, Createx runs about $3 for 2 ounces. Wicked runs about $3 for 2 ounces. The beauty of Wicked is that you can over-thin these paints, or over-reduce, as they say. Reducing and thinning is the same thing. It just depends on what kind of paint you're talking about, whether you use the word reduce or thin. And you know, if you're dealing with urethanes, you use a reducer, not a thinner. And I guess with the Wicked line, you use a reducer instead of calling it a thinner. But their reducer can also be used in the Createx paints and improve upon them as far as their adhesion and drying and things like that. So that's the questions so far. And please don't hesitate to post more of them. I'm going to, like I said, I have a lot of stuff in the can. I have some editing to do. I think I might be able to put another one up this evening. Well, you'll see it if I do. I mean, I've been doing some painting and demonstrating and masking and taping and some things. Spraying some spoons. Thanks for watching. I'll try to do another question vid again amidst these vids that I'm doing. And I appreciate everybody's support. I do appreciate. Post more questions and stuff, so I'm not getting misinformation or leading people in the wrong way or anything. Thanks for watching. I don't know how long this video is, probably way too long. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.